Welcome to Epic Stage Journeys and Then Some. And now, here's your host, Gavan.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I've got a guest here, and you may notice something about him is that he and I have the same last name. And hey, we can't help it, man. We're just that way. We're good like that.
Yeah, we were born like that, literally.
We were born like that, definitely.
Yeah.
So Arthur, do you go by what do you go by? Arthur Bryan? You just go by Arthur?
Arthur, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know some places on social media, or I've been in the credits, Bryan, but Arthur, yeah, that's my name.
Now, and do you pronounce your last name properly?
Marroquin, yeah.
Marroquin.
Yeah, I roll those R's. Anytime I auditioned, everyone, like, in a room, especially, people would be like, what is that? What is that? Can you say it again? Yeah. And they're like, yeah, it was great. It's a great conversation starter for sure.
It is. It was funny. I think we were in Miami working on a show one time, and our waitress was Haitian, and of course, that's all French.
Yeah.
And so we had given our credit cards to pay our bills and everything, and she come over and she goes, "Who's Mr. Marroquin?"
Yep.
And
I heard that in New Orleans too.
Did you? Yeah. And I was looking at everybody, and they were looking at me, and I was like, "Going, I don't know." And I said to get you with Marroquin. I said, "Show it to me," and she showed it to me, and I went, "How did she say? Well, that's how you say that in French." And I went, "Oh, that's interesting. Okay." And so I kind of do it differently. Some people here, they'll go, "How do you say your last name?" I'll say, "Well, it's Marroquin," and they'll go, "What's that?" And I tell them, they say, "And if I pronounce it properly, people kind of look at you like," and like you said, it's a good conversation starter, but it can be a pain in the butt some days too.
Yeah, sometimes you have the energy for it to go into it, and sometimes you're like,
Sometimes
"Hi, I just took a coffee. Thank you so much."
So you are a photographer, a phenomenal photographer, I may say, because I've seen your work and you do some beautiful stuff. And you're also an actor.
I dabble. Yes, I do both. Yes. When you can't find me doing one, I'm doing the other.
You're doing the other. So how is the photography going? I know you said you do a lot of headshots, a lot of stuff.
I do a lot of actor headshots. I'm at my studio right now, my Austin one. It's going really, really well. The amount of clients that I have has just been always amazing. I work so hard at it. Being an actor myself, I fell into it years ago, especially the actor headshot like niche. And so, I just really became an expert in it, and I try to get better at it every day because I don't want to send somebody out there with a photo that isn't going to help them land an audition or get noticed. And I know it because I've had bad headshots, and I remember feeling terrible for paying that money and then being like, these are the worst photos ever. So I never want to have someone have that experience. But I do, other stuff like fashion editorial stuff. I've been in the Wall Street Journal for photography. I've been in People magazine, so it's been good.
Wow.
I love photography. And I'm glad that people find me. I'm glad that people continue to use me. Everyone hire me always, abmpix.com, official ABM photography on Instagram. Come get your photo taken.
You guys need to check it out if you definitely need something from this guy. He's the man, because I'm looking at some of his stuff right now, and you do amazing work.
Thank you.
And what is with you, Mr. All sexy posing and stuff with all your muscles and everything?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, the goal was to be lean, and we got there. And so, I try to be in the single digits, body fat wise. The goal is always like a Peter Parker, Spider-Man kind of thing. Like, I don't know. There's so many people out there right now out in the fitness world, and it's so like, oversaturated with just like steroids and like a bunch of peptides. And peptides are fine, I guess. But like, I'm doing nothing. I just want to be fit. I want to live a long life. I want to be healthy. I want to look good, but actors were in our head all the time. So like, Dustin Hoffman used to never have to worry about having abs. So like, it's hard when you're like, great, I can be the best actor too, but then like all of a sudden I've got to be shirtless, and now I've got people judging me to see if like my body fat is like lower than his. And so it's
I
a long going thing.
Man, I mean, I've seen some of the photos and I've seen some pictures of you, and I said, I'm not related to him. Look at that guy. He's like, geez, it just ripped, man.
I don't think they're in the genetics. First of all, let me tell you that. I think I had to work really hard against the genetics. The tortillas definitely didn't help, but I got with a trainer, one of my fitness clients, and I've always been kind of fit and athletic, but it's all nutrition. It really does become about nutrition.
Yeah, it
But
does.
it's so funny that you bring this up, because Austin Butler had this whole like men's fitness like spread on him, and he was talking about the new movie Caught Stealing that he's in, and he talks about his body in the movie, and he is shirtless at points and whatever, and then he talks about like how he trained his glutes and blah blah blah, and his character is like a baseball player, or used to be a baseball player in high school, but nowhere in the movie did like he had to be fit. Like none of it, like like it's so funny that some people are like, oh, and I'm training so hardcore for this movie, and then you see the movie and like they're like clothed in the baggiest things ever, and they're never shirtless, or like, and you're like, what was the point? Like, was that just
it was like, why did you do all that?
Well, and I love Anne Hathaway, but like I know sometimes it goes the opposite way when they're like, I mean, I think this is great. I think the way that they ended up shooting it was a disservice, but like in Les Mis, where she lost all this weight, but like it's a lot of close-ups right here, and like so you never see like her like down to 100 and whatever pounds and like frail and close to death. And so like so that's the opposite way. And then sometimes it's like, are we rewarding? It's a whole thing, but sometimes it's like, are we rewarding the extreme lengths, or are we like rewarding the acting? And so
I've seen some of your stuff, and I've got one of them pulled up right now. Jesus, you're not related to me. What am I doing?
Oh God. Yeah, no, I mean, luckily I have a photo studio, so I can just have a photo shoot any time of day. But yeah, no, I count every macro, which is, for those of you who don't know, is your calories per day. I count those two, and then I count protein, carbs, and fat, like every gram that I have. And so I've been, for the last 3 years, like really putting that in every single day.
So how old are you now?
Oh, that's a good question. How old am I? In this new movie, I am 19.
And you could get away with it too.
Yeah. I think that's the thing is my age range has really been all over. Like the thing I just auditioned for the other day, whether I get it or not. And the fact that they requested me for it was like a younger, like 18, but the oldest I've played has probably been like 24. And so like I'm kind of, I'm a little older than that, but just in case if anyone's listening, I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually don't say too much about my age either, because it's getting there, and I try not to think about it, but I just I tell people that just getting older is not for sissies, that's for sure. But it's a job in itself, and for me, I think I was diagnosed with MS in 2007. And it just stayed, it was, to me, I just kind of took it as, oh, well, we've got to get on with it. And it stayed dormant for long. I'm on my 18th year now. And then 2 years ago, it decided it wanted to change courses on me. So it's a little weird, but it's, I still get around and stuff, but, it's been a little different. So I tell all the younger people, I said, take care of yourself, just because for me, back in the day, it was all sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, I've been in, I was in the show business for going on close to 40 years. And you worked hard and you played harder. That's just the way it was. But I am so glad for you though. I mean, you look good. I mean, I've seen your stuff. I've seen your work. I've seen your movie. And just, man, just keep doing it. I mean, you look phenomenal. You're just too damn pretty is what it is.
Oh God, it's not that. Oh, yeah, no. Sometimes it's funny. I get requests from my agents being like, "Can you get a photo that looks a little rougher?" And it's just so hard. I like. There's not like sometimes it's just things that your essence, and like my essence is just like polished and put together. And so, and not that I'm not an adaptable actor, but that's just like I'm not gonna get cast as like the homeless person, and that's really hard. Because like I think it, and not that I can, but like, and I can do it really well, I'm sure. But sometimes you look at someone and you're like, yeah, that's their lane, that's what they do. Uh, and so like and I have different agents in different regional markets as well. And so
Mm,
some of the markets like are a little grittier. Uh, like a lot of like the westerns or the post-apocalyptic shows, like those shows, not necessarily that they're not my thing, but I haven't been in them yet, really.
yeah.
And it would be interesting to see if and when I get in those worlds and how I fit into them, because I probably like as a doctor or like a
There
someone
you
who
go.
has like an answer to a cure, because I don't see. And again, I can do those other things and I can be like the person on the outside and the da 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 da. But a lot of times when I learn, I come from the theater. I come from the theater background. You can do it all, learn everything, be the old
Mhm.
person, be the tree, be all the things. But like in TV, film, casting is so limited to like, do they see it or not?
Yeah.
And that's a thing. And sometimes, like when it's hard to not get those bad actor thoughts when you get an audition across your table, especially because sometimes we're like starving for an audition, and you get it, and you immediately say like, "Ugh, it's not me." And like, I'm not gonna get it because I just don't fit it. And it's sometimes just like the breakdown, and sometimes those breakdowns are just written by the intern in the casting office, and then they posted it. Uh, But you just have to do your best, and, like, I always feel like I put my best, and I'm like, "Great, I'm gonna give them my version of what this character is." And so that's what I do every single audition.
Now how long have you been acting now? How long have you been?
I mean, a long time. Like, I did theater as a kid, and then I went to University of Texas at Austin, got my, theater degree. I was a Marcia Gay Harden scholarship recipient. She
Okay.
was an alumni from there,
Mhm.
won a Tony, won an Oscar. Uh Yeah, and then I went to LA. So like I've been in LA 10 years. And so but before that I was in the Austin market. I had, my Texas agent. I had some bad agents, and now, I've got some good ones. And so yeah, I mean I've been in it for 10 plus years. And then the headshot game as well. That's been 15 years, but I've done photography for about 20 as well. And so acting, I was competing in was the most obnoxious little theater kid in the world. And so, yeah.
That's all right. Gotta be something, so you might as
Yeah.
well. It was,
Like for career day, like in kindergarten, like I remember going, do you remember the Little Rascals?
mhm.
Like Alfalfa, that like with the one little hair.
Oh, yeah.
I went dressed as Alfalfa and was like, I'm gonna be an actor. Like, and I was like, that's what I wanted to be for, like, that was career day, like at kindergarten. Like that's and it's crazy that I actually get to do it. It's crazy that, when I show up to set anytime, and it's not always, but when you show up and you're at a trailer and you're eating the food that someone brought you and you're changing and you just got out of the hair and makeup trailer, like you're just like, wow, like I know that this isn't always, and you're like, but like I made a promise to myself, and like I'm doing it. That's the really great thing, is just that, like, and dreams change and everything. I mean, LA and Hollywood has changed so much, but like when I get to do the things that I said I was going to do, it makes me so happy. And I get, with my photography studio, I get really happy that I get to help people get that, because I know I get clients jobs. My photos get clients jobs, and it makes me so proud and happy to do that. Like I do love what I do on both ends.
That's great. Yeah, I was telling you about that friend of mine I talked to a few weeks ago, Alicia Robbins, who is she's the director of photography for Bridgerton, and she and I talked about Hollywood, and luckily for her, because I asked her, I said, I'm assuming that they shot that in the UK, and she said they do, and she spends 7 months in the UK each time. And I said, and I was like, 7. And she said, well, we do half, then we come home for a month, and then I go back and finish the other half. But she said that the thing with Hollywood is it's a mess right now because, COVID didn't help. The writer and actor strike didn't help. That caused a mess. And I said, well, what about New York? And she said, no, it's like that everywhere. It's New York, it's LA, it's everything. Everybody's, because in the industry I came from, we were more audio video. We did corporate stuff and things like that. And I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was in LA doing a show, and I said, how's it going? He said, well, the labor's a little rough. And I said, well, what's up? And he goes, we're getting a lot of TV and film people over here working now. And I asked Alicia about that. She said, yeah, a lot of people are migrating over to that side because there's no work. There's no work on the film side. And she said, there's not a lot going on. So they're just picking up work wherever they can. And so you can't blame them for that. I mean, everybody's got to work. But she told me that I said, what do you tell these young kids that are coming up? And she says she said she has a few that she works with, and she tells them, she said, look, if this is your passion, then stay with it and just work on it. Because she said the payoff it could be great. It may not be, she said, but if it's your passion, stay with it. But she said, if there's other things you're not as passionate about that, and there may be something else you like, she said, you may try and go to the other side, try that other thing that you like, because she said it's tough. And she and I started working together in 2009, and it took her almost 10 years to get where she is now. She had to go through, I mean, she did independent films, and then she got working in Grey's Anatomy, and then she worked on a couple other things, and then she got picked up by Bridgerton, and she's been with them now for a couple seasons. But lucky for her, they just picked up 2 more seasons, and so she's got a couple more years of work to do. So
The hard
but
thing there is, like, we used to have shows that had 22 episodes a season every year. Bridgerton has been putting out 8 episodes every 2 years, like, which is the hard part. Like, and so when you look at it from a money side, I mean, I've never made 22 episode money, like, like that much money, but like, I can just imagine when it trickles down, and like when you got to cut to the manager and the agent and the publicist and the lawyer and the state tax, like it's, and when it's already 1/3 of what it used to be. And then you think that there's a lot of more opportunities since there's a lot more streaming than ever before. We're not just network and cable and movies. There used to be a TV star and a movie star kind of thing, but now it's like fair game. And like, but now you've got A-list movie stars doing limited series and TV shows. So the people, who used to do guest star work are going in for co-stars, because like large co-stars, that production just doesn't want to pay a guest star rate. And they're like, sure, I'll take it because I just need to make my SAG insurance. And so it's really difficult. It's really hard. And then
I did notice, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have noticed a lot now in commercials. There's a lot of big names that are doing commercials now.
got Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox doing commercials.
Yeah.
Two women don't need any money. Like,
No. Yeah, they're broke. I know.
mean,
I
they're
feel so
happy for them. They're great, but like they're pretty set. So when you've got them doing commercials, like it's really hard for anyone else to even just, get something.
Yeah, it's got to be tough for the the new and up and coming people that are trying, and you've got to fight. I mean, you don't have to fight, but you've got to compete with these A-listers that are doing
Yeah.
commercials now, and I've also noticed that, and I had asked before. I noticed that my wife and I have little certain shows that we like to watch. She loves ghosts and things, just crazy
Love
things like that,
ghosts.
and we watch that and everything. But I've noticed they don't seem like there's as many episodes anymore than there used to be.
No, I noticed. I think there was like a really cool time in network before streaming like really took off. And it was around How to Get Away with Murder, Viola Davis on ABC Shondaland World,
Mm-hmm.
where that was like one of the first times where, like, for me, I mean, I'm sure there's other ones, but like someone that big of a name came into a TV show and was like, great, I get to do a network television show. And that was still when people, I feel, were watching network, like when we were like doing appointment television,
Mm-hmm.
where people watched it at like, oh, I've got to be there Thursday at 7:00 to watch this show. And then because you wouldn't want it to get spoiled, you wanted it new. Like that was when people were watching, and she signed on for 15 episodes for the first season, and they did that so she could still have somewhat of a film career, and she was still able to. I mean, she won like an Oscar during that run. Did Suicide Squad, other things, and that was when I think things started to, like, other movie stars were like, oh, maybe I should do television. So people who used to do movies started going into television. They're like, okay, well, let me do this, and then and they're like, well, great, I have a whole job for a whole year, and I get paid per episode versus just one time for a movie, and great, I can win an award over here. So and then that was when things started to really change, I think.
Yeah.
Because then once Shondaland ended Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder, all her other Netflix stuff began.
Mm-hmm.
She still has Grey's Anatomy, but that's, I feel like, when the streaming boom really took off. And, we had movies that were like getting made by Netflix and these other streaming platforms that were like up for Oscars now. And so like, and, but it's hurt like the TV shows, and it's hurt movies. I mean, a lot of other things have hurt movies too, but like the amount of times I've heard or I've offered like, hey, do you want to go see this movie to whoever it is? And they're like, that movie, I'd rather just wait till like it's on streaming. And so like I hear that so much.
I'm guilty of that because I was never really one that I'd like to go to the movie theater. We did, but now I don't. But before, my wife and I would go see a movie or something, and it was great and everything. But now it's like, why go? I'll just wait till it comes out. It's when it's in the theater for how long? Not very long, and then next thing you know,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
and next thing you know,
yeah, it's, usually there was, I think, Jurassic, whatever the last one that came out, they released it super quick, or Superman on like video on demand. I know Superman, I think, is already like streaming. Like it's hard because like you want the industry to not be dying, but we keep on like doing things that are shooting it in the foot. As a kid, I remember watching The Grinch in theaters and then not being able to buy the VHS for like a year or something crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was
And like, you know, that was great in a way because you made money versus like, you know, I have friends who are producers and they're like, oh, well, like we had like a short limited run in theaters and now like it's on video on demand. And I'm like, it's so hard. Like, how are you ever going to recoup your money? Because I don't know if people can. And that's why people are scared to invest and not make, you know, Jurassic Park. I mean, that's why people are making Jurassic Park 7 because it'll get people in the seats versus something new and original, which is so hard because I love both. You know, sometimes I love a good franchise reboot, requel, sequel, remake, whatever. But then I love an original story, something that I've never seen before, or you know, something that's just adapted, and that gets tricky because I like it all, and sometimes either one can do really well, and then sometimes it can't. There's been franchises that flop, there's spin-offs that flop, but then there's originals that like do really well, or originals that you know make $2, and so
yeah. It's kind of funny because, like you said, by the time it's done, then it starts streaming. It does this, and you've got like you said, you've got to look at a lot of things you've got to do to recoup all that money. And because there's a lot of money. I mean, when I got out of college, that's the first thing I did. I went into film. But for me, it was my then brother-in-law. He was in film, and when he he got his degree in radio, television, and film. And so as soon as he graduated, he went to work for a lighting company. Next thing you know, he was doing major. I mean, he did Forrest Gump. He's done all these movies. And I think he was an electrical grip electrician. There was always something on that. But and then he got me into it when I got out of college. But for me, it was hurry up and wait, and that I couldn't deal with that. It was, how it is. You get everything set up for the shot, then you got to wait for talent. Talent comes in, you get the shot, everybody's happy. Then you got to strike it, and move it somewhere else, and get ready for the next one. And it's art to me. It was arduous, and it was long, and I was like and then I started, and I'd like producing live music more because they come in, you do the show, you take it down, you're out same day, maybe 2 days at best. And then when we get into the situations that we were doing after that was, I was doing live music venues and stuff. We did that for 20 years. And then after that, I shifted over because I was just getting a little older, and I thought, this is the live music venue kind of thing. That was more of the young kids game. And I thought, okay. And, that going in that day at noon and getting home at 5 o'clock in the morning the next day was kind of getting old, and it kind of wore on you. And so then I shifted over and started doing the corporate stuff, but it was, it kind of almost turned into the same thing there for a while, that you had to tough it out. And there were some days you worked 15 or 20 hours, and that day came when my body said, nope, you're not doing that anymore. So it was time to check out and not do that one anymore. But I mean, I get what you're saying. Just like my friend Alicia said, same thing. I mean, what you've said, she's almost said verbatim. There's just a lot going on with the streaming and these new companies that are making films. We just there was just a brand new studio built just up in Fort Worth, just a little bit north of Fort Worth.
The Taylor Sheridan. Well, it's like an expansion. So like, what's good is, I mean, especially why I'm spending a little more time in Texas is why I have so many clients coming to me in Texas is there is a boom right now with all the incentives that were just passed in Texas, and Taylor Sheridan is shooting a lot here. And so
So what were the new ones that were passed? I try to keep up with, but I don't catch them
yeah,
all the
so
time.
it was Matthew McConaughey and like Woody Harrelson and a bunch of other, Texas advocates.
Hmm.
Powell, like Renee Zellweger, we're all pushing for these new incentives. I forget the exact number that were passed, but it got through. And so there's the thing is, I can't wait to see where it leads, because hopefully it'll bring others more than just Taylor Sheridan. And I've been auditioning for his worlds. Like I've been this close to Landman season 2. There's got a new Yellowstone spinoff that I went in for this season. Uh,
Yeah, I was going to
so-
ask you about that if you went in for that one or not, because
yeah,
there's kind of
I went
shooting
in
in
for the
our
first
area.
episode, so we'll see. I just heard from the casting director, and it's good. When it's my time, it'll happen. It'll be great. I like this season on Landman. I've gone in like 4 or 5 times, and then I almost booked one of them. They were like, "It's in front of Taylor," like da 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 da, like, and you're like, "That's great." You just never know. But like, what's hard is when now that there's only like 8 episodes, you're just like, and you're on the 7th episode audition, you're like, if I don't book it this like next episode, it might be like I might not book it this season. Like, that's what gets really hard. Like versus like when there used to be 22 episodes, you'd be like, great. Because sometimes they like to call you in and they're like, we really like him, we really like the actor. It's just not a right fit, or like, it just we want something bigger for, and like, but then sometimes like it just doesn't happen and the show gets canceled or whatever, or there just might not be a role. So
They were just shooting because the new one that they're doing, the new spinoff that's Rip and Beth, and I don't know, they're shooting that one here where we live, and then there's another town just south of excuse me, just south of us about 5 miles. They're shooting there, and then they're shooting in another town just about 15 miles outside from where we're at, and he lives in Weatherford, which is not 20 minutes from where we live. And because I've got a friend of mine that lives out there, and I asked him, I said, what's it like out there? And he said, well, he's got a compound out there. He's got all this property. He's got a studio built on his property. When they did 1823, a friend of mine was in 1823 just as an extra. But when they reconverted Fort Worth, a friend has a bar up there, and he got in the mix of that. And, so, and I asked him, I said, what did you do to get in that? And he goes, they just had a call, but he does a lot of these, reenactments, these gunslinger reenactment things and stuff like that. So he does all that, and he kind of fit right in. But yeah, but I noticed there was an open call here. I saw it pop up somewhere for the new Sheridan one for this area, but
yes,
they
yeah,
wanted
no, I'm
headshots. They
looking
wanted
forward.
all that.
I'm looking forward to like, there's supposed to be some other ones like near Bastrop too that are getting built, and one like near San Marcos. Like, so hopefully these get built. The ones over here. Hopefully that Fort Worth one like continues to grow, and then hopefully productions come to shoot here. That's the thing, is productions have to come and shoot here.
Right.
So like, Taylor obviously will shoot here. Um, but because before, I feel like before I even got to Texas or like Austin and really in the film scene, there was like a thriving kind of like, there was stuff going on. And then when I was in college, it started to die down a little bit
Mm-hmm.
right after what's the show? Friday Night Lights. After that, like there
Right.
was a few shows. There was like The Lion Game on ABC Family, and there was Revolution. But like things slowly, like once the incentives went away, everything really migrated to Atlanta, and
Yeah.
and some a little bit New Mexico. So, and New Orleans had some great, like Louisiana had some great incentives. They're fighting for them. I've worked a lot actually in Louisiana, and so I'm just I have agents all over. They get me the audition. I book the job. I go where they need me to. Like So it's you never know where you're gonna go. But like my last job that I just did that comes out in a month was in Utah. So that was a whole other thing. Yeah.
So what did you do out in Utah? What did you shoot out there?
I shot this movie called Home Turf. It's gonna be on Hallmark. It comes out October 4th. So yeah, check it out. October 4th, Home Turf, starring Warren Christie, who just booked the Little House on the Prairie reboot, and Mickey DeLoach. There are leads. He plays my football coach because I play one of the football players, and then Nikki is our campus president. And so it's a fun movie. It's a cute rom com. Ready for fall. You know, college football, and yeah, I play Antonio. The first time I get to play someone who speaks Spanish, so like I'm gonna and being Latino, like I was like, was I the only person in Utah auditioning for this? But they chose me and I showed up. And so I was on set for that for a month and that was great.
That's great. Do you speak Spanish?
Yeah, I do. I like fear it sometimes because I'm like, oh, my mouth and brain don't connect all the time. So it's like a lot slower. And sometimes I like grasp for words. So sometimes on set, it can definitely be nerve wracking. Because I just like when I see someone who it's like their first language, it just scares me because I cannot ramble as quickly as they can. And like when I see a novella, I'm like, there's no way I can talk that fast. Like I can
Oh
learn it.
yeah.
I can learn it, but to riff off that quickly, it's a thing that you'd really have to work on.
You
So
know, my father, my mother pushed my dad forever to teach us Spanish, and he would not. He would not teach us Spanish, and I don't know what the problem was. We kind of grew up during the time where I don't know if he felt like we were going to be discriminated against because we spoke Spanish,
that's the thing.
or you know
That's
it, it
lasting.
yeah,
It's
this
sad.
was back in the 70s. I mean, we're talking the early 70s now, and he was just very he didn't want us to learn Spanish, and I hate it to now because I can talk to anybody down in the you know how it is. You go down to the valley, you're sitting with the family, and the conversation goes from English to Spanish to English to Spanish to English, and I can pick up some of it. I can pick up on some of it, but when they start talking fast, I'm not. You lost me. I can't keep up with it.
I understand it completely. Um, when I speak it, that's where I struggle. But, even me, like when I grew up as a kid, the education system, I mean, really pushed uh, not being able to speak Spanish or like just focusing on English. So I felt like looking back on it, I mean, I don't think I had an opinion on it as a kid because I was a kid. But looking back on it, it was terrible. Like they would really single out Spanish speaking students and really make them feel bad about it. They would really try to train it out of them. And if you had a, you know, accent of any kind, like you would be either put in like a remedial class or you would be put in like an ESL class, which a lot of times didn't have the opportunities or the same curriculum as just in the English classes, the pre-AP classes that I was in,
Mhm.
and it really hurt them, I think, because they were put at a disadvantage, and then everybody else who I feel like probably could speak Spanish or probably could have strengthened it would be probably better equipped with it, especially more technical Spanish versus just like Spanglish RGV Spanish.
Mhm.
Uh, because we were kind of denied it, and it was it's a really weird, I guess, like sensitive issue to talk about it because like there were like you would be seen as a higher status if you didn't speak Spanish, and you would be, I think, looked at a little less than if you did. And it's a really weird RGV lens, especially at the time. And I think now I'm glad that that's not there as much,
Yeah.
at least from what I've gathered. I don't know what it is like now with kids, especially in the RGV in this day and age, but I mean, I think everyone's learned that Spanish is a language that, especially in the RGV, that people should know.
I agree with that. I think that was my dad's thinking, was that, we're going to be looked down upon if we speak Spanish. And, both my sister and I, neither one of us do. So, it was kind of tough, and it's hard now because even, I did a show in Mexico City one time, and luckily, of course, most of the guys I work with did speak English. My chief steward spoke Spanish. I mean, spoke English, and he was a Marroquin as well. And I had written my name down for something. We were ordering lunch or something. I wrote my name down, and he goes, "Who's this?" And I said, "That's me." And he goes, "That's not you." And I said, "Yeah, it's me." And he goes, "You're not a Marroquin." And I said, "Yeah, I am." And I pulled my license out and handed it to him. And he goes, "Well, wow, you are." And I said, "I told you I was." And that's when he goes, "Well, do you know do you understand anything about our last name?" And I said, "Not really." I said, "We've done some research, but not a lot." He said, "Well, we're mutts." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, I think we're all mutts in some way or another." But he goes, "No, we're really mutts." And so then one day I get a letter from Gloria, our cousin Gloria, and she had done some research, and she broke it all down where it started. It started in Spain, and then it worked its way down through France and then through Mexico and all of that. And a lot of it made sense then. And but we have we have Moors in the bloodline. We have Jews. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And then it made sense to me what he told me. He said, "We are mutts. I mean, there's a lot going on with our last name." But it just kind of just pissed me off that my dad never taught us. And my cousin Cindy will go, "If you came down here and just spent the summer with me," she go, "I'd have you speak in Spanish fluently." And I was like, "Well, I can't come down for the summer, but we could maybe talk." But now on your side, who was your great grandfather? Do you remember?
No, I don't really know a lot of the family tree.
I didn't know if you did or not.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I know Eliased Marroquin was my grandfather, and then it's kind of his dad. I don't know anything about. I don't know a
Hmm.
whole lot of like the past. I've wanted to research some of it. It's quite interesting, just because I know it's a part of me that you don't know much about. So
Yeah, because
when you don't know it, and like you're like, oh, this is how I literally hear, and when I'm gone, there's gonna be this whole lineage that's there, and I'm a part of it, and
yeah, there's because we've talked about it quite a bit, and of course now there were my grandfather's name was Tomas, and then there were nine, yeah, there were nine kids.
it's always like 10 or 9.
Yeah, it was 10, and my grandmother lost one passed away, but there was, from Valdemar to my dad, Rudolfo, to Ismael, to Linda, to Ophelia, and Odelia, Delia, and Sylvia, all those. And you go through all those, and there's only two left now. The only two that are still alive now is Tia Odelia and Tia Ophelia. and that's it. Everybody else is gone. And we've all been talking. I said, we all should get together one of these days and have a family reunion or something, so we can just kind of sit and talk and visit with everybody, because we're not getting any younger. Not at all. So, but I was just curious about your side, because I knew that there's an Uncle Jesse in there somewhere. I'm trying to figure out where he is.
Uncle Jesse, I don't know.
Yeah, that
Was
was
Tomas the one though that died in Vietnam?
Uncle. That was Junior.
Okay.
That was Uncle Junior. That was Tomas Junior. He's the one that passed away in Vietnam.
Yeah, I've
And
been
then-
to his, or I've been at the the monument and saw his name there.
You've been the wall and seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it. I used a piece of
Sketched it.
paper and sketched it,
Yeah.
and it's on the wall. And yeah, so that was hard, because to see your name up there and you're going, and to know that. But our cousin Ernie, he's the oldest out of all of us. He was in Vietnam. So was Uncle Mike, Mike Gavan, who was married to Aunt Linda on the Marroquin side. He was in Vietnam also. Of course, she's gone, and I think he's back down in the RGV now. He went back down there. It's we're all over the place. So anyway, let's get now movies. I have to bring it up because you got eaten by a shark.
I've been impaled. I've been eaten by a shark. Yeah. Santa Jaws.
Santa Jaws.
Cult classic favorite Christmas movie. People message me all the time about it, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I'll have every year new fans kind of like find the movie.
Everybody should watch it. It's great. I've watched it, and my wife's going, "Why are you watching this?" I said, "Because I've got a family member in here, and he gets eaten somewhere. I just got to find out where it is."
Well, spoiler alert. But yeah. Don't worry, I live, I guess. Anyway, you should go watch it. It's called Santa Jaws. Directed by Missy Talley. It's on Prime. It was a Sci-Fi Network movie, so we premiered with the final Sharknado, which was really cool. So like, we had the whole like Sharknado week like leading up, and we were one of the big ones. We were like trending on Twitter, and then it was kept on like getting shared, because it found new lives. Because it was like on Amazon, and then like Christmas time, and then like Sci-Fi would show it again, and so like, and at one point I think like Sony had bought the rights, and so like it always finds some new audience, and people discover it, and like they are like, it's funny because like anytime people share like a clip or a photo, usually it's with me in it, like getting impaled by the shark. The candy cane horn
the candy cane horn.
Yeah. And so it's great. And I'm like, there was like one, like it was like Screen Rant or like Film Junkie or whatever, like .com Facebook ad, and like had been shared like hundreds of thousands, I don't remember, thousands of times, and it was just like crazy that like that, and I'm like, well, that's great. Like I had the best time shooting that film. I remember showing up to that film being like, where am I in my career? Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm doing this shark movie and really questioning my choices. But I fell in love with the movie. I was like, you know what? And I had just come off a musical tour, and I had just done a movie before that, Urban Country with Lou Diamond Phillips. And then I booked the musical, and I went on tour for that for Christmas. And then I immediately came off the tour, went home for Christmas, and then filmed Santa Jaws, and then booked it. And what was funny was I remember watching the SAG Awards, and someone was, I forgot who it was, but they were like, I was there in my little LA apartment, da 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 da, and then watching the SAG Awards, da 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 da, and then like the following day I booked Santa Jaws, and I was like, yes. And then they flew me out and everything, and then I was just like, wait, what am I doing? Why am I doing this movie? Should have not. But no, it was great. I freaking loved it. The producer, Daniel Lewis, was great. Misty Talley, the director, is phenomenal. She does a lot of work in Louisiana film. Reed Miller, one of my best friends, he's great. He went to go star in, Joe Bell with Mark Wahlberg. Everyone, Haviland Stillwell, she's a good friend of mine. Like, everybody there was just so on their game, and I just loved making a silly movie, but like really taking it so serious. And I think that's why, like, Sharknado, you've got like sharks flying around and hitting you, and you're just like, sure, whatever. But like Santa Jaws, we weren't in on the, like, yes, we knew what was going on, but we really treated it like with high stakes. As an actor, you're just like, I'm going to make sure that I do not die and that I protect the ones I love. And we just had a blast with it. And we're glad that people love it so much. And like this last year, I forgot who, or I do remember. I had this old college acquaintance, makeup artist, professor of mine reach out and tell me, they're like, oh, I have a friend and her daughter loves Santa Jaws. Can you send me like, a signed headshot? And I was like, oh, okay. Like, so like people love Santa Jaws, and I'm glad people love it.
I'll watch it when it comes on. I'll watch it. I'll watch it every time it comes
I
on.
still get those SAG residuals, so keep watching it.
Hey, I'll be happy to watch it for you. No doubt. So let's talk about some of the other movies you've done.
Yeah. Urban Country was a great one. That was fun. I did out Mississippi with Lou Diamond Phillips, Brian Charbonneau, Walking Dead. I did this other one called Devil's Junction, Handy Dandy's Revenge, which is a terrible horror movie. Though everybody in it is pretty good. Like the kids, us, we were good. I got to work with someone called Bill Oberst. He's like kind of like known in the horror genre, and I looked up to him a lot. Like I had like watched a video before going out to LA being like, oh, like he works, he knows his stuff. And then there I was like working with him. And so that was really cool. The reason why I say it was like terrible is just because like that was a bad experience, and I think we're so far away from it. Like, and like I had fun with the people. I think it was just like production really was cutting corners, and not that I'm trying to be like a actor who's like, oh well, they did it, like they just did things that were like not okay in SAG standards. Slash also they luckily my check cleared, but a lot of people's checks did not clear who were on that crew.
No.
And they went to SAG court and everything, and it was just sad the way that went down. But I learned when to speak up, and like why there's a union, like that set. I really learned like the reason for the union, because when you got someone being like, watch out for these asbestos, like like no, like and it was a learning experience there. And then I've done some other shorts. I just did Play Dirty as well, which just came out with Theo Rossi, who's on Penguin and Sons of Anarchy, and Ron Perlman's also in it. That's that just came out this last year, which was number 2 in Variety for streaming, original streaming. So that was really cool, with like 161 million minutes watched. That you can find on Tubi. And like I remember we beat out The Electric State, which is a Netflix movie with Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt. And so I was like, wait, how did we beat them with like a $300 million budget? It was interesting. So yeah, I'm really glad that we were able to do really well with that. And I liked working on that set. Like that casting director, and auditioned for that casting director for 8 years and never booked. And then all of a sudden I booked. So it's really wild sometimes. You just never know when your next job is. Uh,
Yeah.
it's
Uh,
crazy. And then I booked Walker on CW, which is cool. I got to work with Mitch Pileggi. I got to work on another show out in Arkansas. I got to do the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. And so like in a Brad Paisley music video, like it's been good. I've been really close for some other good stuff, and like it's been a great career. I like love what I get to do. I just taught a master class this weekend, which is really funny because I'm like, wait, the Zilker Performing Arts Hillside Theater, which is a theater here in Austin, was like, do you want to teach a class? Uh, and I was like, wait, what? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And so I kind of taught like a master class on like auditioning for TV film, which I mean, I've auditioned for TV film for over 10 years and I've done over a million tapes. And so I was like, okay, like I know how to act. And then I know how to teach, how to at least someone who comes from the theater, how to not be acting for the theater and acting for the camera right here. So
mhm.
that was great. I had a good handful of kids come in and some adults, and that was really nice. And like they saw the before and after. We got them on tape filming, and that was really cool to see like even just a little bit of growth within 3 hour blocks. Cause like some of that stuff, I've took me a while to learn, and I do like to give back, it's wild. I've been asked to like go teach like in the valley with my friend and at some other places and it all sounds so great and I love the idea of it. They brought me in to be like some guest instructors here and there. But like I liked the freedom that I have being a photographer and an actor, and I like I still have a lot to learn, but I'm still in class. Like I keep going and I have a lot more to do, I have a lot to keep booking, and I just put something on tape like two days ago, and so that was great for another film. And so I have a meeting today with my new agent and my manager, and so yeah,
Well, it's
things are going
great.
well. Yeah.
Just keep doing it. I mean, you love it. Just keep doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's it's you know. And my grandfather told me one day. He said if you get up every morning and you hate what you do as for your job, he said maybe it's time to think about finding a new job. And he said when you find one that you really love, he goes, hang on to it with everything you got.
Yeah, you can reinvent yourself every day if you want. I
Hmm.
mean, I know it's harder. It's easier said than done. It's hard for sure to really reinvent and start over completely every single day. But you do get a chance to like start over, and if you don't like something, and luckily I think, I know I'm going to be acting forever. Like, and now with self-tape, it's only easier
Hmm.
because the last, I mean, all the jobs have that I've had in the last 8 years have been off tape. Like I don't go in a room, like it's crazy. I don't go to a casting office anymore. Like nobody does. So it's really wild. It changes everything. It's a different world. I remember what it was like. So it's weird meeting other actors who started auditioning after the fact, or like who got into the business when they never went into a room, when they never had to hand in a physical headshot, when they never had to like go in and do the awkward like, hey, like da 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 da, how's your dog? Okay, great. Or like, hey, Linda, it's great to see you again. Thanks for bringing me in. Cool, let's do it. Like people don't have to do that anymore. Some people just never did, which is wild. Because that I used to love it because I loved showing up and knowing like all right, Arthur, you got to get this. You got this one shot, and you're going to do it. You're going to do such a great job. And I would. And then sometimes they'd give you a redirect. They're like, that was great. I think this part, like, let's just do this. Or like, they'd be like, great, thank you. And sometimes it was because you weren't the person that they wanted, or they were like, great, not it. Or great, that was actually great. I can send that over to producers. It's one of the three. But now you've got, and I help people, I help my friends. I mean, I do it too sometimes where like you do a take after take after take, and you're trying to get the best take because you can. You can be there all day. You can do 100 takes. But I used to like the immediacy of like, hey, casting director, let me help you out. You help me out, kind of thing. Versus like, all right, I did my best at the script analysis and figuring it all out. I'm gonna just shoot my shot, and then
Yeah.
hoping that it's like the right thing, you know?
Yeah, because I think, like you said, the personal interaction's gone. Like you said, you can go in, you could meet the casting director, or you meet this person or that person. You kind of get a feel for the room and maybe a feel for what they're looking for, what they're what they're reaching out for, and what do you do now? You just take the script, read whatever you got to do, and record it and send it in and hope for the best.
It's
And
that.
they don't know you from Adam. They well, some may, but then there may be some people that don't know you at all. They're going,
Yeah.
maybe.
So like, you know, I still do some casting director workshops when I don't know a certain casting director that I trying to get in for.
Mhm.
And so then I've seen a change, you know, when you like see that person, because like how like sometimes, and this is where both of my jobs kind of meet, like, you know, I don't know if those people out there know, maybe not. When a casting director puts down breakdowns, they're like, I am casting episode 5 of this show, this hit show, or this new show, whatever, and these are the 3 roles I'm looking for. Brenda, Jason, and Roy. And then, you know, an agent sees Brenda, Jason, and Roy, and they're like, great. It's really open from like any ethnicity, woman 25 to 40. So then they literally look at their roster and like, let me send off anybody who fits that. And then they send it off, and then the casting director gets, you know, 800 to like 2,000 submissions, and then they're like the tiniest little headshot. Excuse me. And then they have to just choose. They're like, and it used to be different. Like, I used to be such a numbers guy, but like, I was like, oh, like they're seeing people from 2 to 4. So, you know, depending on the size of the role, they were seeing 10 to 20 people, you know,
Mhm.
between the 2 to 4 block. But now they're like, great, ask 80 of those people to audition. So now you're like, great, I have even more competition. But like, at least you don't have to drive somewhere, you don't have to fly somewhere. So,
Yeah.
but it's also like, cool, will I be the one out of the 80 that got asked to audition, let alone will I be one of the 80 that was submitted with the 2,000? Like one time, okay, to go back to Devil's Junction, Handy Dandy's Revenge, when it was just called Handy Dandy, and I show up in Michigan, we're in Detroit. We all have dinner with the producer, and then he's like, just so you all know, you all beat 10,000 people. And I'm like, how? Like, how did I beat 10,000 people? Like, I have no idea how I beat 10. Like, each time it's like it's wild to me. Because I actually auditioned for the lead of that film, and then I ended up getting like a different supporting character, like who's one of his friends. But like no callback, nothing. Like they just offered me the role of Rick, and I had gone in for the role of Stefan. And then they were like, yeah, they were like each role there was like thousands of people that were submitted, and I was like, what? And I'm like, how did you choose me to like, especially like you didn't even call me in for Rick, like you just had me tape for Stefan, and then like like it was wild to me to hear like, yeah, everyone beat out thousands of people, and I'm like, but how? Like, was my I don't think like my photo was like that good, or like not that my tape wasn't that good to be Jake or Stefan or whatever. And then so but they liked me enough to where they just gave me another role. Like, so it's always wild to me when you hear why you book a job or when you don't book a job. Because it's so out of your control. You just got to try your best every single freaking time.
It's all you can do. I mean, it's just, it's hard. It's like when we would get people to come in, and it would be, whether it be an audio guy or a lighting guy or anything, and they could say, well, I can do this, I can do that, yada. And to me, it was, don't tell me what you could do, show me what you can do.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of run from there. But it was never like an audition of anything. It was just, they were already on the crew, but I may not have ever worked with them. And it was like, you got to just show me what you do. That's all you can do. And, I could tell you, I can do a lot of things, but I can't. But, to me, and so it's like with you guys, not being able to sit down and visit with you personally and kind of meet you, get a feel for you, see what they're dealing with. And that's got to be kind of tough, I would think. And especially when they say, well, we chose you out of, 5,000 people. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
hard. It's
wow.
always hard to hear that. Like, one time they were like, they told me this on Urban Country, and I've told friends. I've never said it out where I remember the producer picked me up and from the airport, and I was like, oh yeah, like it's great that I booked this. And then he was like, yeah, I had the top 20 Corey's, that was the name of the character, and I showed the director, and you were the first one, and the director was like, that's Corey. And was I just lucky that I was the first person, that my name starts with A, or that I was like, maybe I was the best choice, like maybe he put them in the way he wanted them, but like, it's gotta suck to be the person right after me. Like,
Yeah, I would think.
yeah, what if the person right after me was Austin
Yep.
Butler? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, or Zac Efron. Like, that's the thing. Like, maybe they're missing out, but I, I was meant to get that role. I had a great time on that one. But it's always a little wild to me, like, because I think, like, as lucky as I was there, and as good as I think and lucky I am that, like, I am a good actor, I do believe in my skills, is like, how unlucky have I been also, you know? Uh, and that I'll never know on a lot of them.
Yeah, it kind of goes hand in hand sometimes. It's, you you go in and you think that, like you said, you go in and you think, man, I knocked this out of the park, and everything was on, and you don't get it. And then there's
Oh, I
times
never book the ones I work on so hard and I'm like, this is the one. Like, never. It's
and
always the ones where I'm like, I gotta get this out because it's due right now. Like, and it's like, I
yeah,
just got it and they're asking for it right now.
yeah, and then you get that one where you're like, okay, I'll do it, and it may even kind of seem like it's half-assed to you in a way, but you get it.
Yeah,
And
the Play Dirty
it's
one, I didn't think I'd booked. I remember getting that one and another one at the same time. And it was right before Christmas break. And I was, not that I was like, oh, like, I'm just over it. Like, I just was like, a cop. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to book a cop. Like, but then I was like, oh, this other one, like, it felt like, I was like, oh, this girl's best friend. Like this makes sense. Like, I feel like it could be. And then didn't book that one, but then booked the cop one. So, like, it's just like wild. It is wild.
it's I don't know. Do you know Lionel's daughter, Vanessa?
Marroquin?
Yes.
Yeah, actually.
Okay. Because she's out in LA. She does voice work. She
Yeah.
does, and matter of fact, I've been after her to come on. She said she would, but we just haven't gotten around to do it. Her husband was on
John.
for some reason, is it John?
I think his name is John. Yeah,
In
because
fact,
he went to so one of my roommates after I graduated from UT, they were in the same class at St. Ed's. And so, because then I ended up moving closer to St. Edward's University, and they were in the same circle. So, yeah.
Yeah, he was in what was the Beverly Hills Cop remake one that was
Oh, yeah, yeah. I
the
like
last one. He was in that for a whole 30 seconds, I think.
that's
He
great.
played he played he played the I think he played like a 911 operator.
Great. That's
And
amazing. I
and he
didn't
gets they were driving the cement truck and chasing him somewhere, and he answers the call, and he goes, I think his line was, you're driving a cement truck, and then something else, and then it just clicks away from him. But I told her, I said, but he was on it though.
Yeah.
He made it on there. And now, and I don't know a lot about it. You know way more about this than I do as far as movies. But if you're in a film like that, does that automatically get you your SAG card, or what do you have to do to?
It depends. First of all, there's a few things. So, like, it used to be you had to get like 3 SAG vouchers. I still think that's like a thing. So that's like a day on a set as a principal performer, something or something like that. But like you can also get it. You don't necessarily have to join the union right away unless you become like a SAG must join if you work. It also depends on the state. Like that's the thing is so like Texas and like Georgia are right to work states. So I have plenty of people who work on SAG projects who just don't have to join because they're in right to work states. So they can still continue to work non-union work. But John might be part of the union, unless it was like his very first SAG job.
Mhm.
Or there's also a thing called FICOR, which I'm not the biggest I'm not familiar with it very much, but I just know that it's really hard to like get back in good graces with the union if you turn FICOR, which means financial core, and it just means you can do non-union and union, but you kind of give up union. You still pay your union dues, but you can't vote. There's certain things you can't do, and like SAG looks down on it. I don't know a whole lot about it. But that's a whole other thing. But some people do turn Vicor, especially like right now. Like so many commercials are just non-union, and
Really?
they don't pay what they used to. And like right now where people just aren't even making their money to make their SAG insurance, they're just like, well, I'm gonna do non-union so I can make the work, or I can make money to feed my family. So like feed myself, you pay the bills, and which I get. You do what you have to do, especially the market that you're in. Also, will tell you what you need to do. If there's only a lot of people here in Texas, the agents tell them like don't join because you'll most of the work is non-union. The shows are like union, but a lot of the commercial, which is especially the last like 10 years has been the bread and butter for this market. And so,
Hmm.
you know, you might not make nearly as much on a like what you used to on a SAG commercial, but like, if you book like a $5,000 commercial every 2 months, that might be money that you might need. But for some people, like, not these non-union contracts are just like great, like in perpetuity we will pay you $2,000 and you like bye, and we get to run it forever. Like, so it's a really hard thing, deciding when it's your time to join, unless you are a must join and then you book a job and you're in a state that you're like you got to join. And so
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I knew that Texas has been a right to work state, and because I used to deal with a lot with the locals here, but we still used union people here. We didn't have to, but
Yeah.
we have IA here, and we in both in Dallas and Fort Worth, so I heard that somebody just told me the union just joined as one, so DFW is now just one big union now.
Oh,
There used to be two, but now it's just big one. But and I don't know but if they keep going like they're going now with Sheridan, and I think him and from what I read, it was him and Paramount kind of joined up on that studio
great.
up north, and I thought that's hey, perfect.
I'm
And
here for it.
yeah, and that friend of mine told me that lives over in Weatherford. We were talking about that 1823, that one that Sheridan did, and he goes, they shot most of that over here in Weatherford. And I said, really? I said, I had no idea. And he goes, oh yeah, a lot of it. He goes, because they were shutting down stuff all the time. They just did something out here. We have this huge, the sheriff's department has this huge rodeo arena out here, and they do the big. They do a couple times a year. They do big events out there, but they were shooting a movie out there, and I think it may have been Sheridan's bunch out there shooting some stuff out there the other day, because they said it was a cluster out there. I
Yeah,
said, yeah, I ain't telling.
right now, Kevin Bacon just wrapped a movie here. Cole Sprouse is doing a movie here. So there's things going on. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward. I'm excited for the market. If I'm ever up, when I book, not if, when I book the Sheridan World and I'm up your way, I'll have to hit you up.
We are going to lunch or dinner or something. We will definitely do that,
There've
because
been some close calls like where I've almost booked. So I'll let you know, because it's coming.
It's coming. You've got it. You're going to do it. So when you get up here, we will certainly hook up and go to lunch and do all that stuff. So, but I don't want to keep you long. I know you've got stuff to do today. I want to just tell you, I appreciate you taking the time to come do this, because
Thank you. I appreciate you asking me.
it means a lot. I wanted to look at you and talk to you, not in person. Well, closer, not quite, but we're getting closer. But
Sure. Yes, for sure.
Yep. And but I'm glad you're doing well. I think for Austin, and I'm not a big fan of Austin. I never was. Oops, I know. I'll be getting phone calls, I'm sure, but I have a lot of friends that still live down there, and we used to do a lot of stuff in Austin until they ripped the convention center out. Now that's all kind of changed. But the company I used to work for, we did South by Southwest. We did all that stuff down there. But I think that there was this big move, and I push a lot of it towards Joe Rogan doing it, that he was sick of Hollywood and he just got the hell out and he moved to Austin, and he took his podcast with him. And what is he now? He's like the top podcaster on the planet.
And that whole comedy world built.
Yeah. And then, and then he opened the new theater there for the comedy, and it's doing well. And all of a sudden now I see all these comedians are moving to Austin now because of that place, because the way that they talk. And I've actually watched the videos on how they built that thing, and it's an amazing building that they did, and it's really cool. And they asked him, they said, well, you think you'll get your money back at it? And he goes, I didn't do it for the money, because I did it so I'd have a place for comedians to go perform and do their thing, and they can be comfortable, and they have a nice place to go and do it. And so he's really brought it about. I'm kind of pissed off, because I had booked this girl to come on, and she felt it was more important to go on her boyfriend's podcast. And so I don't hate Travis Kelce. I'm a Chiefs fan, always have been, but Swifties, I'm sorry. I hate to bring it to you. If she's not coming, Travis is more important. But but I got better. I got Arthur here, so we're but man, I truly wish you the best. Please get on the Sheridan thing. Get up here so we can hook up. We can go out and have some lunch and dinner. Sit down and talk.
Put it out in the world. It'll come back. Yeah,
put it out there, and it's
out there. No, we've been really close. So I'm glad that they keep asking me to audition. So that's the great thing.
Hey, that's a positive right there. As long as they keep asking, is when they stop asking. And so, but
Yeah, they just gotta. It's just gotta be the right thing, you know. So,
and you've also got that brilliant photography business too.
I'm so grateful for it. If any of my clients have listened and have made it this far, uh, at this point, thank you, because you've been such a tremendous gift. Truly, photography has been such a gift, and the fact that I get to act is a gift, but the fact that photography has helped me continue to do that, and I love it. I don't just do it because, like, yeah, you can learn the technical side of it, sure, but I love it. I do love it, and I love that I get to help other actors, other people feel their best and help create a collaborative vision. I just thank you for being a client. Thank you so much for indulging me in hiring me, just because that has, the reason I was able to go do a movie in Utah for a month and reschedule my clients and them not kill me, and they were like, fine, go do the movie, and like, and so it's great. I'm glad that they have come hand in hand, and little Arthur would be very happy where Arthur is today.
That's great. That's great. Just keep doing it. And like I said, and go ahead and plug your business again.
Yeah. So ABM Photography, Instagram is official ABM Photography. At the website is abmpix.com. We've moved to online scheduling, so you can book us at any time. And then my personal Instagram is at Arthur Marroquin. Yeah, come follow.
Please do. Y'all follow him, and you'll be amazed by the photography that you'll see that he's done. Because I certainly was. And I still hate you for posting your own pictures up there, because I look at that.
You'll see photography and abs and workouts and updates for the movies and things that are coming out. Again, Home Turf, October 4th, Hallmark, and then October 5th, Hallmark Plus. And so you can, if you don't have cable or Hallmark, you can get Hallmark Plus and then watch it the following day. So
I'll get with you. I'll have you send me all that information, because that's my wife. She loves the Hallmark stuff, and that's just all her. And
I can't wait to watch it.
I'm gonna get her on, but we will definitely check it out and watch it. And I'll keep an eye out for Santa Jaws too, because I've got to watch it. If it comes on, I got to watch it.
Can't wait to embrace all the new fans coming this Christmas.
Yeah, got new ones. Get new ones every year. See, it never ends. So it's you're going to keep going. So, Arthur, again, I want to thank you for taking the time to come out and do this. Everybody, this is my primo somewhere down the line. We got to figure this out one of these days. But give my love to your family, my love to you. Thank you very much for coming on again. Arthur Marroquin, I'm going to say it properly as I do. Great actor, great photographer. You guys be sure to check him out. And I will, and you keep me posted on when you're going and everything, what's going on, so I can post everything on my pages as well.
Thank you.
Because I'd love, just, I'm a fan, and I'm gonna be a fan. I'll stay a fan. Got to. We're family, man. We got to take care of each other. So
thank you
again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Much love to you again, sir, Mr. Arthur Marroquin. You guys take it easy. Oh, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you like all this, and tell your friends about it. We got more coming, so you guys stick around, and we'll see you later.
Thanks for joining Epic Stage Journeys and then some. Stay well, and we'll see you down the road.